The Galactic Academy's council chamber fell silent as Anna walked through the crystalline doors, her boots echoing against the obsidian floor. In her arms, she carried a mesh bag that clinked with a sound that made even the battle-hardened Kryn representatives flinch. Commander Bassett stood at the defense podium, his jaw tight as he watched his fellow cadet approach. They had told him Anna was dead. The 10 Velrathi hunters had been dispatched 3 cycles ago to the abandoned moon of Theta 9, where Anna had been conducting her survival examination. The Velrathi were apex predators from the Scorched Rim, each standing 9 feet tall with exoskeletons harder than reinforced steel and neural reflexes that put most species' combat computers to shame. The hearing had been called to determine whether humanity deserved continued membership in the Galactic Coalition. The accusation: humans were too fragile, too primitive, too soft for the realities of interstellar conflict. Anna stopped before the semicircular tribunal. Without ceremony, she upended the bag. 10 skulls clattered across the platform, each one bearing the distinctive crest ridges of the Velrathi warrior caste. The chamber erupted in chaos. Impossible. The lead prosecutor, a Velrathi matriarch named Sratha, rose from her seat, her mandibles clicking in rapid distress. My hunters were equipped with plasma rifles, optical camouflage, and pheromone trackers. This human child had nothing but a survival kit. Anna's expression remained neutral, though Bassett noticed the faint tremor in her hands. She had been on that moon for 3 weeks, alone, hunted. He had spent every moment of those weeks fighting the bureaucracy to mount a rescue mission, only to be blocked at every turn by officials who claimed it would be interfering with the assessment process. Now he understood. This had never been about assessment. Honored counsel, Anna's voice cut through the commotion like a blade through silk. I believe there's been a misunderstanding about human fragility. The High Arbiter, an ancient being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, pulsed with a calming amber light. Cadet Anna of Earth, you stand accused of murdering 10 Velrathi citizens. How do you answer? Self-defense, Anna replied simply. They hunted me for sport. I merely proved I was the wrong prey. Sratha's scales rippled with indignation. You dare. I dare because I earned the right, Anna interrupted, her voice hardening. Your first hunter found me on day 3. He announced himself, declared that humanity's trial by survival was a fiction, that I was to be his trophy. He gave me a 30-minute head start because he wanted the hunt to be sporting. She picked up one of the skulls, turning it to show a fracture line that ran from crown to jaw. I collapsed a cave entrance on him. His armor was strong, but granite falls with impartial mathematics. Bassett felt a surge of pride despite the gravity of the situation. That was Anna, practical, resourceful, and absolutely terrifying when cornered. The second and third came together, Anna continued, her voice taking on a distant quality. They had thermal scanners, so I waded into the frozen lake. Hypothermia would have killed me in minutes, but I only needed seconds. When they stood over the hole searching for my heat signature, I came up through the ice behind them. She paused. Velrathi can't swim. I made sure they couldn't learn. The chamber had gone deathly quiet. Even the prosecutor seemed frozen, unable to reconcile the slim human before them with the efficient killer she described. The 4th through 7th were more cautious, Anna said. They worked as a pack using coordinated tactics, professional. She set down another skull, this one scorched black. But they relied too heavily on their technology. I used the battery from my emergency beacon to create an electromagnetic pulse. Primitive, yes, but effective. Without their systems, they were just large targets in the dark. And you killed them in darkness? The High Arbiter asked, not in judgment, but genuine curiosity. Humans evolved as persistence hunters, Arbiter. We don't need light to track wounded prey. We need patience. Anna's eyes held a cold fire that made several council members shift uncomfortably. I followed them for 2 days. Waited until exhaustion made them sloppy. Used their own weapons against them. Bassett wanted to go to her to pull her away from this recounting, but he knew Anna needed this. Needed them to hear it, to understand. The 8th tried to negotiate. Anna's voice softened slightly. Offered to let me live if I surrendered. I almost believed him. She held up a skull with a shattered jaw. But I remembered what Bassett taught me in hand-to-hand combat class. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. The 8th hunter had already killed before. I found the remains of other cadets in his trophy collection. The revelation sent shockwaves through the assembly. This hadn't been an isolated incident. The 9th and 10th were the matriarch's own offspring, Anna said, looking directly at Saratha. They were skilled, I'll grant them that. They nearly had me. But they made one critical mistake. They assumed I would run. And you didn't? The Arbiter asked. No, Anna replied, her voice hard as diamond. Humans don't just run. We invented marathon running, Arbiter. We invented the chase that never ends. But we also invented the ambush, the last stand, the not one step back. When those two hunters thought they had me cornered, I showed them what a human does when there's no retreat. She placed the final 2 skulls on the platform with careful reverence. I made it quick. Despite everything, they were just following orders. Saratha lunged forward only to be restrained by energy barriers. You murdered my children. No. Basit spoke for the first time, his voice ringing with authority as he stepped forward. You murdered them when you sent them to kill an unarmed cadet. Anna simply refused to die quietly. The High Arbiter pulsed with brilliant white light. This council finds Cadet Anna not guilty of murder. Furthermore, we find evidence of systematic abuse of the assessment process by certain parties. The light focused on Saratha. An investigation will be opened immediately. As the session dissolved into arguments and accusations, Basit finally reached Anna. She looked up at him, and for the first time, he saw past the hardened survivor to the frightened young woman underneath. I didn't want to kill them, she whispered. I know, Basit said gently, but you wanted to live more. That's not weakness, Anna. That's the most human thing there is. As they walked out of the chamber together, leaving the 10 skulls as a grim reminder, the galaxy learned an important lesson. Humanity might be young, might be fragile in some ways, but they possess something far more dangerous than strength. They possess the absolute refusal to give up. And in the end, that made all the difference.